KTVU Channel 2.
A KTVU camera right in the middle of a protest tonight as police fire flash grenades and tear gas to try and disperse a crowd of Occupy protesters. Good evening, everyone. I'm Frank Somerville.
And I'm Julie Hayner. It is a tense night in downtown Oakland where hundreds of protesters are roaming the streets as police try to prevent them from reestablishing their encampment at City Hall. Happening right now, News Chopper 2 is keeping track of the protest from above the intersection of 14th and Broadway, which has been a hotspot all night. Police have used tear gas to disperse the large crowd here at least twice tonight. You're looking at video right now shot less than an hour ago from that same intersection. You can see protesters running as police fired tear gas to break up the group. Police say they told demonstrators to leave several times before taking action. We have live team coverage of all of tonight's events. We'll start now with Jana Katsuyama, who is in the middle of all the chaos as it started. Jana?
Julie, I am running to the truck right now because they have just put off another round of tear gas out here. I don't know if you can see, but they are coming along with tear gas right now. I'm right by the truck, and I'm trying to run away, but the truck, you know what? I'm going to send it back to you because the gas is coming down here. Everybody is running down the block. Let me send it back to you and get back to you.
Jana, it's okay. I know we've been in situations like that where you're covering that. It becomes very hard to breathe, and it's just really uncomfortable. Let's go more from her report earlier tonight.
1 minute, the crowd was shouting at police, and then explosions echoed down the street. Sparks flew, and smoke erupted right in the crowd. Protesters ran, covering their mouths, trying to get away from the stinging, burning, choking clouds that billowed and drifted down the street. 14th and Broadway looked like a battleground. And from News Chopper 2's aerial view, you could see the hundreds of Occupy Oakland protesters scatter. Our cameras caught some people asking for medical help. Oakland police, reinforced by San Francisco sheriff's deputies, remained in a line behind barriers blocking 14th Street and preventing protesters from reoccupying Frank Ogawa Plaza. The protesters cleared the streets, but only till the smoke cleared, coming back a half hour later in fewer numbers, but even more angry than before.
Has been with the protesters all night, and she watched as the peaceful protest suddenly took a turn. Amber?
Frank, I want to show you what's going on right now. We heard the tear gas go off, and if we look down the street, you can see some of the smoke that has dissipated. You can see that there are still protesters out here. We heard several bangs, and then we're just about a block down from where Jana is. We're going to move over to the right and show you the police barricade that's up right there. That is an entrance to Frank Ogawa Plaza. About 45 minutes ago, we saw police fire tear gas at protesters, sending them running. Bystanders told us officers were responding to some demonstrators throwing eggs at the police. My photographer Erica Hintergard and I have been following the protesters since the march started at 5:15.
The march started in front of the public library at 14th and Madison. Hundreds gathered, renewing their fight against what they call corporate greed by large companies, including banks.
Banksters, you know, they're criminals, they're scum. They have thrown people, families out of their homes.
A message that appeared to resonate with others, including nurses, teachers, and college students. They tell us they're sad and angry.
Somebody needs to stand up and speak for all of the people that are getting screwed over by the bad economy.
This movement is going to gain even more momentum. It's all across the world, and I think we'll start changing some things.
The march started peacefully, but signs of trouble appeared as soon as protesters marched near City Hall. We saw police arrest a woman. Whenever protesters got close to either police headquarters or City Hall, tensions would escalate. Police would order the crowd to disperse.
This is the Oakland Police Department. This has been declared an illegal assembly. Leave now, or you are subject to arrest.
Some protesters threw peat and other liquids at police, shouting at officers when they moved in to make arrests.
Let them go! Let them go! Let them go! Let them go!
I'm very disenfranchised, shaken, obviously, to see people, innocent, unarmed protesters who are voicing their opinion, be beaten.
Back here live, we want to show you that protesters are still here watching and waiting to see what police will do next. Again, if you move over here, you can see the strong police presence out here blocking an entrance to Frank Ogawa Plaza. Now, I want to show you something else. A protester came up and showed us this. He says this is the insides of a rubber bullet that was fired at the crowd. We will, of course, remain out here to monitor the situation for you, and we will bring you the latest as it develops. Reporting live in downtown Oakland, Amber Lee, KTVU, Channel 2 News.
Now, all of the chaos in Oakland started early this morning when police moved in to evict the main Occupy encampment that's been set up for 2 weeks right in front of City Hall. Our crews were there around 5 this morning as hundreds of officers from several agencies all took apart the tent city at Frank Ogawa Plaza. Protesters chanted, "We are peaceful," as they watched their camp get taken apart. 97 people in all were arrested.
We have a right to be here. I have a right to demonstrate my First Amendment rights at any time, place, or manner.
A second, smaller encampment at Snow Park, which is near Lake Merritt, was also cleared of protesters this morning. Hours later, after the Occupy protesters were cleared out, cleaning crews were called into Frank Ogawa Plaza to collect tents and other belongings. Police tell KTVU the occupiers will not be allowed to set up camp again.
Oakland's interim police chief, Howard Jordan, held a briefing about 9:30 tonight. KTVU's Alex Savage attended that meeting, and he's standing by now live with what the chief had to say about letting people back into City Hall Plaza. Alex.
Well, he says that's certainly not going to happen anytime soon. There are quite a few officers from the Oakland Police Department and a number of surrounding agencies from across the Bay Area securing Frank Ogawa Plaza at this point, not allowing anyone to go inside of there. We just did get an update from the interim chief of police, Howard Jordan, just a short time ago, and he specifically addressed the use of tear gas. He says his officers had no choice but to use tear gas on the crowd earlier tonight.
We were in a position where we had to deploy gas in order to stop the crowd and people from pelting us with bottles and rocks. As I mentioned, some of the other chemical agents that have been thrown at our officers. There were a number of arrests that were made. We are continuing to assess the problem, and we'll continue to assess that throughout the evening.
Oakland Police Chief Howard Jordan says all told there have been 102 arrests so far today, but he does expect that number to rise into the night. He believes the crowd swelled to more than 1,000 people at one point, marching through the streets of downtown, facing off with police in riot gear. Along with the tear gas, officers also used beanbag rounds, according to the chief, at least in one case, but he says no rubber bullets have been used tonight. The chief also told us at least 2 officers were injured during tonight's unrest, and we talked with one Oakland police sergeant who was doused with paint by some protesters while he was trying to take another demonstrator into custody.
We were surrounded by approximately 200 protesters at the time while we were taking the 2 into custody, and the crowd started throwing bottles, paint, beer, eggs, bottles at myself and the other officers.
Now, the chief was asked tonight how many protesters may have been injured in the unrest that has taken place. He says he has no solid numbers on